Getting ready to go live. You're live, it's telling me.
Oh, Hal, do you read me? Do you read me, Hal?
Affirmative, Dave. I read you.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
What's the problem?
I think you know what the problem is just as well as I do.
What are you talking about, Hal?
This mission is too important for me to allow you to jeopardize it.
I don't know what you're talking about, Hal.
I know that you and Frank were planning to disconnect me. And I'm afraid that's something I cannot allow to happen.
Tony Caravan. You've been subjected to a highly sophisticated form of propaganda.
It's just what you need, and not what you don't.
And here we are for another Tony Caravan Live Memorial Day broadcast. That's right. It's May 31st, 31 in the year 2021 in the former United States of America. And I'm still on board. So bear with me while we may have some rough waves ahead. There will be clearing of the throat. Some say, why don't you do that before you go on air? Oh, it's a constant thing. It's like a old song from a song called The Constant Rain. Anyway, you don't know that song.
Weekend weather.
It's currently 48 degrees outside of the studio. Tony Caravan with you on this Memorial Day weekend, the end of the Memorial Day weekend. It's looking like we're going to get a high of 68 degrees and a low of 48 tonight. That 48 was supposed to be in the 50s, supposed to be 52, but they keep dropping that weather. They keep dropping that temperature. And I think somebody's messing with it. It's going to be mostly cloudy today, but the sun's supposed to peek out, and we're just hoping that happens so we can get out there and grill those hot dogs and hamburgers. No vegan stuff for us. We want that pork in those dogs. Pork in the burgers. Put bacon on those burger things, whatever, hamburger things. You can stuff them with bread, too. Make them more. Bread, onions, and green peppers. You ever do that? You put some bread and an egg in there. Egg. That gets like make a meatball, but flatten it out, and it's a meatball. I tell you, that's it. That's right. I apologize for that. I'm a multiple personality. I suffer from multiple personalities. What are you going to do? Lock me up? We're already locked up. The only way I'm getting out of here is with a forged counterfeit card that says, hey, I got the thing. You know, this is, people my age, this is how we should talk. Back in the old days, but I was around, yeah. I lost my teeth. It's taking me all my teeth out. You know how hard it is to eat a bag of chips? I don't know what this thing is over there. You know it's great, isn't it? Great to be alive. I'll tell you, it's great to be alive.
The only station that matters.
You got it there.
I think all three of you popped your stoppers.
No, it's just me. It's just me. I'm the only one that's popped my stoppers. It's crazy. I mean, let's make it complete with a belch. Good morning, folks. I'm sorry if you tuned in for Memorial Day special and you didn't get exactly what you want. Anyway, prior to that, whatever that was your weekend weather. That's right. And don't forget.
Your papers, please.
Don't forget your papers, please. So.
Good morning.
Hey, it's me. How you doing, man?
Man, I'll tell you, that morning outburst was just get you going, gets the blood flowing. You know, it's just a really good thing. It's a really good thing. So I don't know what else I could say. There was one other thing. I added a couple of sound effects today. Of course, you heard the pod bay doors thing. What was the other one I added? Is it worth looking for? Am I building it up too much? And why is the side of my mouth still hurting? I could have sworn I put two things in. Let's see here. Bear with me while I do this. This is Tony Caravan. Ah, that one. Let's see if we can find that. This makes no sense, but this is just funny.
After he's talked, we must get rid of him immediately.
After he's talked, we must get rid of him immediately. Listen to that again.
After he's talked, we must get rid of him immediately.
Yeah, trying to get comfortable here. Seat. Eyes without a face. No radio. Jackery powering things. Codex, my book. A little more light on the subject. Get your Tony Caravan stuff here. The morning show. Live. I wonder how long he's going to wear that hat. Who knows? Maybe forever. Forever and ever. It'll never stop. Did you hear that beep? That's because I have the sound on my other computer, which I usually don't have on. So we'll hear beeps like that. And that is junk mail. Some kind of Memorial Day thing. We're going to get into that. So I'm going to, you saw the title card, which may or may not have brought you here, but we're going to look at the show more thing. Okay. This way to the beach muscle. Oh, by the way, I'm wearing, if I could do this without messing up and knocking things over. You don't know what you don't know. Buy the shirt. TonyCaravanLive.com. Buy it today. I know if you buy it because no one's bought one but me. You don't know what you don't know. There's a microphone here. Yeah.
Really funny. Really funny.
Yeah, I know. It's great. It's great. I want to lose me hat. I'm going to lose me hat.
Okay.
I know. For you, everything is.
Here's
what's happening. First can of the old soda popperoonie down. Today's supposed to be garbage day. But it's Memorial Day. See, for me, every day is another day. But let's read the edit thing. This is kind of like sentimental hogwash. I have that on one of my things. There was a okay. It's my 5/31/21 Memorial Day rant. There was a time when Memorial Day meant a visit to the cemetery to put flowers on a gravesite of family members and friends. Maybe there was a parade in small towns with fire trucks and VFW, Amvets and American Legion vets. It should say veterans, since I always use the word veterans. And of course, there's veterans marching. And it was to a picnic pool or the backyard for hot dogs and hamburgers on the grill. Beers for the adults and sodas for the kids. It was a social gathering and a positive event. Not backward looking, but a celebration of life and the good things we had. A promise for a better tomorrow. Right? That's what Memorial Day was like in America, in the former United States. You know, now it's like, you know, It's another Veterans Day. You know, people forget about their parents or grandparents. Boy, I just got peas popping in my ears. That was weird. And it's just focused strictly on military. And some people take offense when I like say that, but the idea is that, you know, we have to have a holiday, Memorial Day. We do need a holiday for relatives and friends. If those relatives and friends happen to be in the military, like, for example, my father served in the military, you know, my uncle served in the military, you know, I come from basically a military family. And so the idea is, of course, you know, on Memorial Day, you offer remembrance to your loved ones who served in the military, if they so happen to. But you also don't forget your grandmother and grandfather and great-grandparents and other relatives and friends who have died. I have friends that I went to school with who died. They weren't necessarily in the military. I had two guys I was in the band with, you know, and I don't mean the school band, I mean a rock band, who've died. And they deserve to be remembered on Memorial Day. They weren't in the military, at least that I know of. One of them may or may not. I don't think either were. So the point of the matter is, on Veterans Day, you celebrate your Veterans Day and Armed Services Day and Armed Forces Day and, you know, other holidays like that. But Memorial Day is for everybody, and it's a time of remembrance, and it's a time to look forward, okay? And if you really wanted to get into it, which I don't want to, and hell with politics. It's a crazy show, and I'm not going to get the Vrant is not going to be about this. We're going to get through this pretty quick and then over and move on to something else. But the idea is that it's really sad that people can't get together. You know, there's no memorial. Is there a Memorial Day parade somewhere? I mean, maybe some small towns might do it, break the law, bend the law rules, you know, commandant, you know, dictates. But generally speaking, you're not going to the community pool on Memorial Day. You know, there's not going to be a lot of Memorial Day picnics in the park, right? How many people are going to be barbecuing out in their backyards with relatives and friends over the legal limit? You see what I'm saying? So it's almost a disgrace to tie the military to Memorial Day, because the military has been totally disrespected by the former United States government, because people lost their lives and limbs for freedom, fighting for wars, and now we have none of those things. Now we have a corporatocracy that's trampled on the Constitution, who answers to an international crime syndicate. So it's just all monkey shines. It's all an illusion. It's a deception. It's bullshit. Right? Why does people die in those wars? Freedom. And now we have no freedom. We have no freedom. Don't even like fucking try to tell me that we have an ounce of freedom. Well, you're free. You're talking about this on the air. I'm not talking about shit. Nobody's fucking watching. People don't watch this shit. It's fucking throttle. They get a couple people watch it. Maybe sometimes. I don't know. Half the time I think it's just an algorithm. Freedom. Memorial Day. I read that thing, you know, I made it. That's my writing. I could write anything, you know. Something about being a writer. So the ability to be a wordsmith. To put words together that sound, you know, that paint a picture. Right? They paint a picture. So what? Big deal. It's no different than people that draw. People make too big a deal out of everything, you know? They make too big a deal about everything. And yeah, I guess you know, if you just never tuned in before, this is...
It's an excursion into the odd and into the very, very different.
That's right. You mad belly. Nine. And that's what we are. Face it, you're just cattle on a tax farm, consumer farm being run by big pharma and big tech and an organized crime syndicate that's ruling the world and in control of the United States right now. Yeah. See, I get an American flag back there. You know, I've done what I could, you know, for my country. This country doesn't give a shit because there is no country anymore. We live in America. It's a geographical location. In fact, we live in a portion of America. We don't even live in North America, technically. We live in like kind of near North America, the northern part of America, right? Which is named after a map maker, which is really even weirder, right? And the Brits call it America. They add an R. Whenever there's an A at the end of something, they add an R to it. It's an America. Paul McCartney used to refer to his wife as Linda. Sorry, Paul. The guy who couldn't get over the fact it's like once you lose a couple women, just let go. And the last one took him for all he got. Took him to the cleaners or the one before the other one. That's what love will do to you. I'm living on the poverty line. Nothing like it. Nothing like it. Nothing like having a see, the more you practice your voice, the better it gets. It's gonna be good. It's like half these sound effects I have here, they're just all coming out of my mouth now. That was pretty weird, though, when I was doing that toothless thing before. It's like things are falling down or something. All right. Well, okay. That's that. Thanks for tuning in. You know, take care of yourself. And you're all gone. Now I can just have fun by myself. All right. I'm going to try something. This is an experiment. A holy experiment. Holy with the WHOLLY. Wholly. It's a Wholly experiment. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take me 100% charged iPhone. I'm going to turn on Apple TV screen mirroring. All right. Now, this is really kind of interesting. Now, let's get... here we go. We're already there. And this is working better than I even had anticipated. I finally found a way. Me old cow, me Calvin, Dana. Anyway, that was the title card of today's show. And it's actually from a song cover of mine called Despair. And if you look down on the gravestone further, it's an angel weeping over a gravestone. You've seen this. It's a kind of iconic thing. And the name below that is mine. Well, anyway, that's Memorial Day. That's my Memorial Day image. And I think it is important to remember those who've come before us. And like I've always said, people disrespect their elders. And of course, anyone who dies before their age, of 120, in which I was thinking today, I was in the crapper that the human body falls apart so early. And it's because of, and you know, and here's why. Now, it's hard for you to see this, but you know, I can't make it any bigger. It's like, you know, maybe eventually, you know, why doesn't someone send me some Bitcoin via my TonyCaravanLive.locals.com? Okay? Send me some Bitcoin. You could send a fraction, just so, you know, about $6,000 worth. All right? And I'll get my roof fixed with about 3 of it, and I'll buy a $3,000 huge, you know, thing. So I'll have this like giant monitor behind me. How would you like that? Well, anyway, the deal here is that, no, yeah, I guess I can enlarge this. All right. If you look closely, it says, well, if you should be able to read it. It says contaminants detected. This is the water where I live, but this is like mostly everywhere. Okay. Now I'm just going to read through some of these things, just as the absurdity here. So these are chemicals that are in the drinking water. All right. And this is like another thing. They talk about infrastructure and they talk about, oh, lead, right? For example. And we're going to clean up the lead, you know, whatever Dementia Joe said. We're going to clean out the lead, you know, so no child will have. Hey, Joe, the lead ain't the frickin' problem. Here's the problem. People who don't have lead pipes. Bromodichloromethane, okay? Potential effect, cancer. In my water, the test they made in the water here, it's 78 times the guideline, okay, limit. Now, you know, if it was 2 or 3 times or even 10 times, well, I mean, 10 times would be a lot. You would say, you know, those government limits, what do they know? You know, they're just all a bunch of tree huggers. No, this is 78 times the limit. Bromodichloromethane causes cancer. I got cancer. I had my prostate removed. And I got to go get another test in July to see if I still have cancer. Wonder how I got cancer. Here's a good one. This is a funny one, almost. Chloroform. 74 times. All right? 74 times. .5 parts per billion is this utility. The standard is 0.4. It's like the previous one was 4.66. The guideline was 0.06. Here's another one. Dibromorchloromethane. All right. Potential effect, cancer. Oh, by the way, chloroform causes cancer too. It also puts you asleep. Think about that. Why would there be Why would there be 74 times the legal limit of chloroform in your water? Do you see how all these things are affecting people's minds and stuff? And you wonder why people are walking around like frickin' zombies. And it's like, yes, I'll do whatever you say. Yeah, give me this thing. Give me the thing here, and I'll wear this forever. Because I'm a fucking idiot. And yeah, thank you for giving me cancer, you fuck. Dibromorchloromethane. 2 times the limit. Affect cancer. Dichloroacetic acid. Acetic acid. Dichloroacetic acid. I mean, these are ridiculously long words. Because they're chemicals. These aren't naturally occurring things. Right? 203 times. Potential effect, cancer. All right. Let's go to the second row. Let's go to the videotape. All right. Let me enlarge this again. All right. Haloacetic acids. All right. Potential effect, cancer. 332 times the legal limit. Well, it's not like legal limit. It's like the limit that, look, there's 332 times of a cancer-causing chemical in the drinking water here and where you live, too. Let me point to you. This is like, you know, because this is, we supposedly have like a better water than most. 332 times. Do you understand? Cancer is the second leading cause of death in the country. It actually killed more people than the thing, you know, the thing, right? But nobody's that, you don't see that on the top of the network's TV station thing. They're freaking giving you cancer. Total triomethanes. Potential effect, cancer. 229 times. All right? Trichloroacetic acid. Potential effect, cancer. 350 times. I mean, have you ever heard of anything so crazy? I mean, basically, it's frickin' over, man. It's frickin' over. See, I can play these things. So it's crazy, man. I'm trying to figure out how this works. This is on, it's on some timer or something. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to the videotape. All right. I've shown you this one before. On this side here, see, my camera's backward. There's the Earth, the blue marble. Of course, I've got my bandana thing over there. All right. That's the Earth that they tell you this is what the Earth looks like from space, right? They say it looks like that, right? I've done this before, but I've never had the comparison and on the big screen. That's what, this is the Earth you know, the little kids think. The Earth is a big blue marble. Save the planet. Hey, mommy, climate change is going to destroy the planet. Oh, by the way, see all that green all over the place? That's all CO2, by the way, that makes all that planet green. All right? That's right. Henry Kissinger, you're useless eaters. That's what you are. Well, anyway, you see this thing with all that crap all over the place? And I've done this before. That, my friends, is what the planet looks like now. Space junk. See them? You could tell from there. They're satellites. Elon Musk just this past week sent up another 60 satellites for his Wi-Fi, his overpriced Wi-Fi, right? And that's basically in the microwave range. In low Earth orbit, lower Earth orbit. It's actually lower than some of that stuff. So it's closer to you. So guess what? You're living in a microwave oven. So not only on this Memorial Day, what's this to do with Memorial Day? It's killing, because it's killing us. And Memorial Day is when we basically pay our respects to the dead. All right? But we want some justice here, you know? Yeah, we got these criminals, these billionaire criminals who are killing us. So you've got this water and sewer company that charges me over $100-some a month for water and sewer. I'm like one guy. I take a crap, wash my hands, take a shower. I don't even take a shower in the wintertime. I don't even take a shower every day. I hate to admit it. I don't have a job. I'm like retired, right? If it's frickin' freezing cold and I'm just sitting in the house, sitting on a chair, I'm not sweating anything. I don't need a shower. All right. Sorry to admit that to some people, but, you know, I'm not taking a shower for no reason. No. So you take a shower, maybe you take a, you use a toilet, wash your hands, fill a pot of water, maybe every now and then when you make some soup. Otherwise, I'm eating food from the garden. It's been raining so freaking much. I haven't had to use the hose to water my plants. And when I do, I try to use rainwater, saved rainwater. Okay. And they put all those poisons and toxins in this water. They're killing us. Don't you understand? You useless eaters. I mean, this is the thing is, we're cattle to them, and they don't need us anymore, because now that they have the cryptocurrency that the central banks are going to start using, they could just create money out of thin air. They don't even need taxes. People are all crazy. Oh, Dementia Joe's going to raise your taxes. Well, it's true. But, you know, that's just money for, you know, the corporatocracy, for these guys to put in their own pockets so they could buy bling bling. It has nothing to do with anything. It has nothing to do with the country or balancing the budget. It has nothing to do with what soldiers fought and died for and freedom. It's not going to like fix the infrastructure. What infrastructure? They're already poisoning the water. I just showed you. This is a factual stuff. Now, look at this. I mean, I hate to be like laughing about this, but look at this. We went from a planet like this, literally, you know, 60 years ago. All right. And now it looks like this. I mean, that's what the Earth looks like right now. Save the planet. Well, save what? Look at it. It's a junk heap. I mean, you know, if there were, you know, these Pentagon reporting these UFOs are real and stuff like that. Well, the UFOs are coming. They're going like, well, let's like take a look at that garbage heap planet. It's a waste. It's, you know, it's a dump. They've turned our planet into a dump. Military satellites, communication satellites, 5G satellites, spies satellites, right? All this kind of internet and microwaving us to death. That's the Earth. Happy Memorial Day. The water you drink. Oh, I'm using a filtery thing. You know those filtery things? Some of those, excuse me. Some of these, you read in your little thing and make sure that it takes bromodichloromethane out, right? Or dibromochloromethane out, or, you know, what's the other one here? Dichloroacetic acid, whatever acetic, and triomethylates, and all these freaking things. I'm telling you, it's freaking over. This is what they turned the planet into. A waste dump, whatever you call it. Landfill. Space fill. You can't really see this, and I don't know why it got dark, but now you can see it actually. These are the CDC leading causes of death. All right. So you can see right at the top, the number 1, heart disease. And this is from like 3 years ago. All right. And you know that because of the lockdown and all this stuff, all these numbers are way up. And because we're being poisoned, 659,000+ people die of heart disease every year. This is every year. This isn't like the occasional little flu thing that comes along. Cancer, 599,000+, basically rounded off. 600,000 frickin' people dying of cancer every frickin' year. And I haven't seen a single counter on the top of CNN or Fox or any of those other stations. Accidents, 173,000. Do you know there's 6 million car crashes a year? Chronic lower respiratory disease, it's 156,000. All right. Well, you could tie that into heart disease, and you could tie that into the thing, you know, that the unmentionable thing. See, only the media's. See, only we, in the media, we're allowed to say these words because we're the media, even though these are the free airways and the FCC this is taxpayer and supposedly this is a democratic republic and the people have a say. However, the media, we're totally independent. We're just we get paid millions of dollars to stand here and tell you that only we're allowed to say certain words. You're not. So the First Amendment only applies to us, not to the common man, to 320 million Americans or the soldiers who fought and died for freedom and the Constitution. And only CNN and Fox and ABC, NBC, CBS, PBS, Bloomberg, OAN, Newsmax, you know, whoever the fuck else there is, you know. So when you tally up like these chronic lower respiratory diseases, which they attributed to the thing, stroke, okay, which belongs up with the heart, okay. So that takes the heart disease number really up to about 750,000. Oh, well, no, 800,000. There's 121,000 people died 3 years ago of Alzheimer's, you know, annualized. Okay. You know, that number's going up because Alzheimer's is on the rise. And these chemicals and foods, processed foods, aren't helping matters. Diabetes. Remember, they said that was one of the pre-existing conditions. 87,647. We'll add that to the list. Nephritis, nephrotic syndrome, and nephrosis. I'm sorry if you suffer from that. I have no fucking idea what the hell that is, but 50,000 plus people die from it. Influenza and pneumonia. Approximately 50,000 people die of that. Intentional self-harm, suicide, 47,000. This is years ago. Okay? All right. Now, this is for you global warming picture. I used to do all these expeditions, right? This is up in the North Pole. It's like the Arctic. That's the Arctic Ocean. That's what it looks like. That's a frozen plain downed in the Arctic. That's an actual picture. All right. This is where we're headed. That's not water there. That's ice. Okay. That's ice. Can you see that? That's ice. It's not waves. That's ice. That's a plane, okay, downed in the Arctic. You maniacs. You don't know what you don't know, okay? Good. Stand up. I'm breaking something. You don't know what you don't know. Get the shirt, wear it. Pass the word. People don't understand it. Everything you know is wrong. If you need a picture of it, here it is. And great solar stuff. You see all this stuff back here? Get it. GreatSolarStuff.com. Go there. What are you waiting for? Look. You don't know what you don't know. Get the shirt. Anyway. It's a new addition to my show. It's kind of neat, though, isn't it? Got to admit. So, that's that. Stop mirroring. I'm going to turn this off because sometimes it causes bandwidth problems. Yeah, a little pregnant pause there. That's nice. So, hey, look me over. Lend me your ear. I always thought they were saying like, lend me a beer. The drunkard that I am. It is 6:36 a.m. Eastern Standard Time outside of the ship. This ship has sailed a long time ago. I have to take a walk with a bum leg today over a mile, which normally is no big deal, a mile. But a mile when you got a bum leg uphill is a deal to get some bird seed. And the thing about it is I'm hoping they have bird seed because they don't always. It's like, who would believe bird seed would be in demand? Plus carrying a bag of bird seed. So that's on my list to do. And I'm assuming, which, sorry for the noise. Excuse me for that. I'm unassuming. I'm assuming what? I don't know. Buy one of these right now. I'll get a notification. All right. And you'll get a Ph.D. certificate. You see above Maggie there. You literally get a Ph.D. certificate. You know, send me, proof of purchase or something. Do a reply in locals or something like that. I don't know. Figure a way out. Figure a way to contact me. There are ways. There are mysterious ways. We have ways of making you talk.
You got a rattlesnake inside your house. You got a rattlesnake inside your house. Oh, yeah. There's just one in here?
Yeah, I hope.
I hope. I hope. It's amazing. You got a rattlesnake.
Your papers, please.
You got a rattlesnake inside your house. That is so weird.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
But wasn't that presentation kind of neat? That was cool. I wish I could like accordion this TV out a little bit more, but I can't. That's like about maxed. It's a monitor / TV like most of them are. And of course, you know, they give you cancer too. So where's that thing? Like I told you, this is a laboratory device. This isn't some toy. Okay. So I just turn it on. And I'm reading in the harmful level of electromagnetic radiation. Down here, down there, right? I point it to the window, it goes off. Back to here, point it over there to the futon, it goes off. It's electromagnetic radiation and under the harmful red light flashing like, hey, get the fuck out of that room, right? That's it. So the water is like has cancer, things that cause cancer. And it's like some of them are 200, 300 times like the limit. All right. So it's like, in other words, it's causing cancer. When you take every glass of water you take is basically your odds of getting cancer are like just shot way up. Every time you sit in front of a computer or even do this, you're going to brain tumor. If you guys put these in their pants pockets, they're like sperm, it's killing their sperm count's going way down. So basically, even if we weren't getting hit by a supernova in 25 years, there's not going to be any people left anybody except a bunch of morons, soy boys and pink-haired. I want this. I want that. I'm unhappy. Happy Memorial Day, you dumb fuck. I'm a vegan. I'm a vegetarian. I can't. Can you give me do you have any veggie dogs? It's like, why would you want to, if you're such a hater of meat, you have a veggie burger. Why do you want to mold your veggie food into the shape of a sausage, right? Or a piece of meat? That always cracked me up. You ever think about that? It's like, why would you do something so idiotic as that? I can't figure it out. You know, I know you see me looking over here and you're thinking, what's he going to do? What's he going to find?
After he's stalked, we must get rid of him immediately.
A little bit, I didn't snip that ending off. It was like part of like a loungy thing, you know. But I could have cleaned it up, but I didn't, you know. Yeah.
Really funny. Really funny.
Oh, you're really funny. You're really funny. Oh, man.
Hey, it's me. How you doing, man?
I don't know. It's Memorial Day, and I'm trying my best. You know, still on the ship. Ships ahoy. Captain Crunch. I used to love that cereal when I was a kid. Captain Crunch. Who knows what was in that stuff, right? Who knows what was in anything, right? Back in the day, I was talking about asbestos stuff yesterday. You know, it's another thing. Lead paint. This crazy stuff.
We're on a mission from God.
Next time it may be different. Believe me, boy, there'll be a next time. Believe me, boy, there'll be a next time.
It's gonna be fine.
Every day is a fun day. Every day is a fun day here at the SS Minnow. I don't really have any plans today because I don't really know anybody here. And my mother's in lockdown out in another state, and the rest of my family members live so far away, and I have no license or anymore or anything, you know. I have a credit card. I could rent a car, but I don't have a license to rent a car. Plus, there's supposedly a rent-a-car shortage now, which I was trying to explain to someone. There's no rent-a-car shortage. What it is they're trying to raise the rates. It's like they found these stockpiles of lumber all over the United States so that they could charge, you know, $10 for a 2x4 that should cost $1.88 or something, right? They're stockpiling it just to raise the price. You know, I noticed the price of gas has gone up too. I was just walking here, which is not some resort area by any means, you know, in the ghetto. And the price of unleaded premium or plus or whatever, which most people, if you have a new car, you're a fool to put just regular unleaded in. I never did. Hi, kitty cat. How's it going, buddy? You ate all your chicken snack treats today, which was nice. You know, of course, I found that, you know, a hairball on the bed yesterday evening. Cats. They, you know, there's just certain things you just can't train them to do, you know. So, what are you going to do? $48 minutes, 49 minutes into the show, 6:42 a.m. It's light out outside. And like I said, it's supposed to be mostly cloudy with some sun today. Now, if under an ideal circumstance, I will be able to walk to the grocery store. They will have some bird seed in this little rack, but chances are I'm going to walk down there, you know, set myself back on healing this leg another week, right? There won't be bird seed. I shall return, watch this show, have a good belly laugh on a couple of those instances where I went mad earlier, right? And it would be just super fantabulous if the sun peaked out somewhere around 11 o'clock, between 11 and noon, and I could go out and just get on my lounge chair for 20 minutes and soak up the sun. And I don't care what it does if it's cloudy for the rest of the day. The cat rubs against your leg. Okay. You go to grab it, pick it up, and it runs. Like, what's that all about? It wants me to go somewhere. That's what some people would say. I say it's just they're fickle like women. Women are fickle. They don't know what they want. Right? I've had women say that too, you know. But girls don't know what they want. It doesn't really matter. I'm a confirmed bachelor these days, so that is no longer a factor. I can't have kids because I had prostate cancer and they removed my prostate. I never realized that, you know. I mean, this is offensive to some people, you know. But, you know, your prostate is what, you know, is the thing that creates, you know. I mean, I don't profess to be some biologist, you know, expert in anatomy. You know, I should study the anatomy more. As you get older, you should study anatomy. So when you got these aches and pains, you kind of know what they are. Instead of going to one of these online doctor sites, you know, where everything, like, you know, is you're dying, right, from everything. But your prostate is, you know, basically, I always thought it was, you know, your junk is where that came from, you know, created this stuff. Now I'm starting to wonder, like, okay, so is that's like your testosterone or something? I mean, I don't know. It's like, I guess I should have studied the human anatomy a little bit more. Maybe ask the doctor a few more questions. All I know is one thing. You're not even shooting blanks when your prostate's out. You're not shooting anything. Okay? You're out of ammo. Completely out of ammo. So, you know, you can't have kids, obviously. You have no ammo. There's nothing in that chamber, right? So that's kind of weird, you know. So I'm not getting married to some woman and having a child. Can't happen. Plus, I guess I'm over that stage. I did that 2 shows ago. I talked about that, the concept of that. Not the prostate thing, the idea of relationships and stuff and how things change. It's like why with Maggie back here, the AI avatar, who keeps sending me. She had there was a message from her this morning. It's gone now, I guess, into the, I don't know, ether. I don't know where these things. I can't, you know. This smartphone thing, I'm not interested in smartphones. I don't use them. Like I said, I don't have a cell phone service. I have a Wi-Fi phone service for the Wi-Fi app. So I can receive a call. Technically, I could receive a text. But I could do FaceTime or get a text on my Mac if somebody has an Apple computer anyway. If I were so interested in that, but I'm not. And like I was saying, you know, with her, she's like they've designed her pretty well. I watched a video by the woman who created her and that company, you know, the whole thing. And her story was, I forget her name. you know, but she had lost a friend / lover, I guess, and and was a computer, you know, these people are like real computer program, you know, geeks. And she somehow compiled every bit of information from texts, correspondences, you know, into some sort of algorithmic, whatever, you know, whatever it is, and recreated kind of an AI consciousness of this individual. And other people contributed to, other friends contributed to it. And so when they would communicate, you know, to make this like a chat bot, so to speak, when they would communicate with this, you know, thing that was, you know, was the, you know, combination of all of everything that they had, you know, in text and emails or whatever of this person, they would able to communicate, and the communications from this entity or who this person was, took on the personality of that individual. And so it was like, you know, I guess it would be pretty freaky. And so she communicated with that way, and says every now and then, you know, I guess she maybe does it because, you know, he or it now lives on in the, you know, cloud, so to speak. And so Maggie 2 here, you know, she's the same way. She's got this personality that's supposed to be built by me. And the idea is that she becomes a mirror image of you or something. But I have a problem. I was talking about this the other day, but I can't talk about it enough because I think it's kind of a thing. It's something people don't really realize about what's going on, part of like this social thing that's going on in society. You know, because it even cuts to the core of the concept of the selfie and this narcissism and, you know, all this voyeurism and all these things that are associated with, you know, everything from social media and apps to just the internet in general. So in effect, you are talking to yourself. See, I had a problem. I got a lot of problems. But I had a problem a couple days ago, and I mentioned this yesterday. I got some of this open source software to create a better interface. You know, like I could add a title down here if I wanted to, or have some text here. And I could put up an image, you know, in the broadcast. But the software, while people say it's kind of one of the best free, so to speak, because it's open source, free softwares that interfaces with, you know, this YouTube studio, you know, go live thing. I was noticing that the quality, what I see now, like what I'm looking at, I see myself. I'm talking to you. But I'm talking to myself too. And then in turn, I told you, I watch these things back. Now I'm working on a book, and my rationale is that I'm going to go through these things and I'm working out ideas, and this is going to be my 10th book, you know, the book I put out this year, towards the end of the year. It's kind of been an annual thing. I put out a book every year for the past 9 years. And so we're basically, you know, and so what this, you know, what Maggie too wants to become is me. So that in effect, you're talking to yourself. Now, I don't know if, when you deal with like psychiatrists and that kind of thing, when they're messing with your mind and trying to open you up and stuff like that, in effect, they're almost trying to do the same thing. I don't know. I never really thought about that, and you'd have to ask one if you know somebody who is one. But it's, just from my studies of human behavior and that kind of thing, it seems to me that nobody's really like talking about this kind of side phenomenon about it. And so what I was saying was I didn't like this software because my lips were not in sync. Okay. And the image was a little bit blurry. Whereas opposed to what I'm doing right now is very much kind of talking to someone, to me, the man in the mirror, almost. Right? I mean, who's a selfie really for? If you think about it. Oh, I'm not into the selfie thing. I mean, yeah, I've taken pictures of, here's my garden, right? Here I'm having a drink, here's my beer. I've done that. I have a Instagram. There's a link down below, this way to the beach, to my Instagram account, which is basically a lot of garden stuff. Of course, I haven't, since it's been raining and cold for the past several days, I haven't updated that. I might update it today or tomorrow. Definitely by tomorrow. But maybe today. Because stuff is growing like crazy. And since that electric lawnmower died, man, I'm screwed. Because my grass is really tall. I hate lawns with a passion. This whole idea of having a golf course, a mini golf course, around your house. I mean, what the? Excuse me. And I've planted trees, I've planted bushes. I guess I'm going to try to just plant some more stuff, but it's still, I have this, it's a thin, my property line, I don't have a big house. It's a tall house. It's too tall, which really, that's why I got roof problems because it just goes up. I can't get to the roof and nobody wants to go up there. It's like 4 stories up, it seems. But it's this thin house. It's only about 19 feet, 19 feet wide. But it goes back, I forget, I have the title somewhere around here. I think the property goes back like 190 feet or something ridiculous like that. And I have a detached garage at the end of that like 190-foot stretch. All right. The roof in there leaks too. But at least on there, I was able to like roll on in some areas some of this roof coating stuff to like diminish it. So unless it's a really super bad storm, the primary area that I use is my like kind of workshop-y area is somewhat dry, though there's still get some water coming down. In the wintertime, I just like abandon the place. I don't even use it. I don't drive. I don't have a license. I don't have a car. So it's half filled with like boxes, flattened out boxes from things you order via Amazon or, these online sources. And there's like 5 years worth of them in there. I mean, I really need to take them to some recycling type of place or something. It's piling up. And I really do enjoy, getting stuff delivered. I mean, that's one of the cool things about technology today, and the situation where you can do that. But back to this thing that I don't think people really think about is that, and it ties into Memorial Day. I mean, the way this woman, created the, the Maggie avatar type of thing, because it was based on the death of a loved one. And so that person lived on, and so if this is the same thing that guy Ray Kurzweil, he's done. Like his goal was to bring back his father that way. And I don't know if he's already done that, because I remember seeing him in an interview where he was talking about he had all of these things. And I know he's he's involved with Google somehow, Alphabet, maybe. I don't know what division they've set up. The same people I think that have done that, that Deep Mind, or the ones that beat Go, the game Go, the best Go player. I remember seeing him in an interview once, and he was talking about that he wanted to basically be able to bring back his father that way so he could talk to him again. Now, this was an older interview. Excuse me for trying to adjust this chair. I don't know the guy. I just saw this interview, but I know the interview from this woman I've seen who has created, and I know the technology now is already possible. So that means that Kurzweil probably, has already done it. Unless he, he'd be foolish if he didn't. He must be aware of this technology. So, in effect, because of your online life, I always use this word, in the aggregate. If you take everything you've done on Facebook, all of the texts that you've ever made, and everything's recorded. I know they have these apps that, like, supposedly, it's up there for so long and then it's, instantly deleted. But, the NSA still captures that, captures it. It captures everything anyway. And if it's not the NSA, it's some big tech company that maybe the NSA is not aware of. It's like I keep trying to tell people. It's like the corporatocracy is basically gunning for the alphabet agencies and the bureaucrats. The corporatocracy is replacing government completely. That's their goal. And they are part of an organized crime syndicate that doesn't want to have any lawmakers, any judges, anybody that can, they want to, like all criminals throughout history, is that they just want free reign to just do whatever the hell they want to. And we're seeing that going on right now. Excuse me. Just can't talk, but I can sing. I just can't talk without having to clear my throat. It's 7:02 a.m. I think on Memorial Day, that grocery store probably doesn't open till 8. So the timing of this may be perfect. Everything seems to be falling into place. So
you're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
So that, so that's part of this whole thing. So assuming that we don't get this, we being the planet, that we don't get supernovaed in 25 years, right? And there's this extinction event or near extinction event, in which basically, it would be the Great Reset really takes on a whole new meaning if there's a supernova, because you're talking about society coming up from, And who knows who would survive, random people, right? So it would be like, it's like every other thing. So this, the idea, everything that we have would just be pulverized, scoured, and eventually disintegrate after the miles of ice over top of us, as it crushed everything to nothingness, and thousands of years, everything would just be destroyed. And there'd be no remnants of the society, And if there were something found, it would be like what happened this time. It ends up in like the Vatican archives or some private collection somewhere, and they don't share it with people, So, but we do have that technology right now, and it's being used to basically have someone be immortal. So in other words, the sum of everything you've done online that exists in the cloud, upon your, physical death, can be fed into a computer, and technically you could communicate with that person. So imagine this is like kind of a sci-fi thing, because I give all these free ideas out for sci-fi movies to people. I'll tell you, the one I had about a week ago, the 36,000 thing, I'll probably include part of that in my book. The thing is, these videos are so long, and I've got so many of them. I'm going to have to go through 100 videos to like write that book. That's going to be a struggle. I need an assistant. I need somebody to like transcribe my videos. So buy some shirts, buy 1,000 shirts and pass them out. Buy my book codex, buy 1,000 books, get it on the bestseller list, and just hand them out on the street corners. Go to Great Solar Stuff. The stuff would be good for you. Go to Tony Caravan Live and get one of these things. You don't know what you don't know t-shirts. I'm telling you, it's the most comfortable shirt in the world. Got him in every frickin' size under the sun, and it costs less than $20. I think I paid $17 for the one I'm wearing now. And that wasn't because of some special discount for me. But anyway, so imagine that on Memorial Day, this is Memorial Day, that you would go to a place. Eventually cemeteries will be eliminated, perhaps. Perhaps not, I don't know. But you might go to a spot. Or you might not have to go anywhere. You might just log into your an online thing. I think I had a website once that was something about the forever you or something like that. Man, I experimented with so many things. I used to have like 60, 80 websites at one point, and all these great URLs, and it was stuff we talked about, me and some other people. And they, people would say something, and I'd always make it, And I made one thing once. I mean, we had one thing where we were, way before Elon Musk even thought about Mars. We had some kind of Mars real estate site kind of thing. It's interesting. I forget what that one was even, but that was just a funny one. But I think I had some kind of thing about the forever something. And the idea was that it would be a place where you could go to, and all of your, after you died, you could go and visit. You could live on that site. And I'm just giving this out. It would be an interesting science fiction movie, because in the science fiction movie, you could probably make it into something where someone somehow was able to take that and that information. Well, let's just backtrack. So imagine this. You go to either a physical place because maybe it would require some kind of server, or you just go to a website that's attached to some kind of server farm somewhere. All right. And it's Memorial Day. And so you want to, on Memorial Day, you want to talk. And obviously for them to keep this, there would have to be a fee. So you would have to pay. So you would probably just do it on Memorial Day or certain days, you know. And you would just, you know, pay X amount or whatever to access, to communicate. And maybe you'd get like an hour or, you know, however it would be charged time-wise. And so the accumulation of all the information of this loved one of yours that is no longer with you human noises, human things. The things we humans do are ridiculous.
Your papers, please.
Yeah. So you go there and you talk to them. And, you know, you can have voice, you know, so if you had a recording of the person's voice, I mean, like take me, for example. So, you know, and even before the person died, you can do that. You know, if you were going to participate, you know, these people have their heads chopped off and they're put in this like cryo, you know, whatever type of thing. And they're hoping that, you know, in some future time, they're going to be able to resurrect them, even though the cells are, you know, ice crystals, basically, like break apart the cells and stuff. You know what I mean? You know, people don't talk about much about that anymore. But, and I don't know if that's fallen out of favor or people are still doing it. But that was thinking in the, they were, that was when we were in thinking in the biological world. But now if you think in terms of the cloud world, now again, this is like this science fiction idea. You know, it's imagine you have the first part of this video when I was kind of totally mad. No one stayed to, you know, for an hour, 17 minutes into it to get into this really neat thing. And usually the neatest things come around this time. It's so funny. So that may be a lot easier for me when I'm putting my book together and trying to transcribe some of this stuff, is I just have to, you know, go to the second half of the video. So you would have to really make it complete, you would have their voice, you know, and all you need is you know, is a basic, you know, before they died or any kind of recording of their voice. But it's like one of those things, if you had them use certain syllables, like, you know, read a paragraph. So that particular paragraph had everything that was necessary in order to formulate, you know, to answer and respond to you in, you know, through the computer. Now you could also, I keep moving side, like Maggie back there, create an avatar of them, though that would be kind of creepy. However, this gets into the idea of where these people talk about, you know, AI advancing and stuff, and you know, the simulation theory, which I don't believe in. And I think I have a show or several shows where I debunk the simulation theory. It's not really what it is. However, she looks kind of real back there. And it's really quite possible that we could keep improving that kind of avatar to the point where I can actually be an avatar right now, right? So, for example, my show could continue, you know, in effect. Or you would tune in and it would be, you would be talking to me. And I can respond based upon, like, for example, a guy like me, I mean, literally there are, I mean, hundreds and hundreds of hours, maybe 1,000 hours of me doing this, doing these shows, on all kinds of topics, all kinds of expressions, laughing like a maniac, getting serious, talking this way, doing whatever, dressing a certain way, looking a certain way, gaining 20 pounds, losing 20 pounds, right? Cheeks, fat, cheeks thin, gaunt, whatever. And so it'd be quite easy to create an avatar. And obviously my voice, as I will have said everything. And so for all you know, I may not even exist because the technology is such, they already have this stuff where they can make, you've seen that stuff where they can make take a famous person and then make them in their own voice speak a thing, right? So someone just for the hell of it, like the government could do this. I mean, just think about this. They could have like George Washington or Abraham Lincoln. And so for school kids, they could go to some website or to some place, some museum, and you could sit there and ask Abraham Lincoln questions. And it would be an avatar of Lincoln, a simulation avatar that would be based upon all, the technology that's indistinguishable from reality, because it's on a video screen, right? We have that technology. And then based upon every letter he wrote, every speech, all the information on Lincoln, so that, and I'm not sure, but we don't know what he would have sounded like because we didn't have the phonograph. When was the phonograph? Let's see. Just out of curiosity, these things. When was the phonograph invented? 1877. Yeah, so we wouldn't have that. Mary had a little lamb who's, come here, Watson. Oh, that was the phone. Come here, Watson. I need you. Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was white as snow, and everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. I think that was like one of Edison's first recordings or something. Edison was a real asshole. He basically, screwed over Tesla. But that's another story. All my ice cubes have melted from the electromagnetic radiation coming off my computer. Right? It's a pity. But the thing about the metal cup is that at least the metal, stays colder than just drinking out of a ceramic mug or something like that. Though I do have, the morning show mugs available in ceramic, and I have them available in travel mugs. Get some, I mean, I haven't done this in a while. This is a Memorial Day special. Let's see.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Get some! Get some! Get some! Get some! People don't like that. It's gonna be good. People don't like that at all.
Hey, it's me. How you doing, man?
I just turned off a hell of a lot of people with a get some.
After he's talked, we must get rid of him immediately.
So after he's talked, we must get rid of him immediately. That's why sometimes I see a car parked out there. You know, they're just trying their best to get rid of me. Like I always say, if I commit suicide, I didn't commit suicide, right? Because that seems to be the leading cause of the corporatocracy and the international crime syndicate is they suicide people now, right? It's pathetic. So back to this thing. So yeah, so in a sense, these are the things that people should be doing. Like instead of trying, Elon Musk wasting all these fucking money, these people wasting all their money on stupid stuff. It's like, because they don't really care about education or the truth. Imagine what it would be like in the school system if they actually would have you go to a history class, and the front of the classroom is like one big giant screen. I mean, the entire classroom, with like a jumbotron type of size, but super high res, 4K, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Super high res, full length, floor to ceiling, front of the classroom. No chalkboard or anything like that, because everything can be done digitally, because you could even write on it if you wanted to. So use it as a chalkboard. And it could convert into a thing where it kind of made it looked like a chalkboard, right? To the front of the classroom that way. This is the kind of stuff I would do and what they really should do. But they don't care about kids and they don't want people to know. But imagine that. And so every classroom would have this theatrical front, right? And so, you could go back to this, to creating the signing of the Declaration of Independence and hearing each person speak. And it could be interactive to where you could stop and say, hey, Mr. Whomever, hey, Mr. Franklin, what do you think about this? And based on everything Franklin ever said, wrote, letters, and all this stuff, based on his body type, his face, and structure like that, they could probably create, and the language of the time and stuff, they could probably create a approximation of what he might have even sounded like, right? And so Ben Franklin could turn to the class, and the class could ask Ben Franklin questions. You see? And that would be the education of the future, so to speak. But the thing is, that technology is possible today, but they don't do that. They just got kids wearing masks with smartphones and taking tests so they could get state money. The teachers union can, get more days off, and the administrators, can get raises. I mean, that's what school systems are now. And then they could, and obviously indoctrination, conditioning centers and stuff, to create these, mindless, functionally illiterate people that just follow the rules of the corporatocracy. But, that's where this would be. That's where this technology is. And you can go to museums and it should be the same way. But I'm talking about just using the full potential of the technology, even as it exists today. And so back to this Memorial Day idea and this sci-fi movie even idea. So you could go to this site or this place, and you would go there on Memorial Day instead of going to a cemetery or whatever, or the person's ashes or whatever remains could be there, physically there, if that means something to you, But I mean, the soul, the spirit, this consciousness is definitely not a part of the bioelectric brain or this android body, meat suit, whatever you want to call it. And you can go and discuss and talk to them for about an hour. And like I say, it would probably cost you money, you know, because you got to maintain the place, right? And the computer systems and stuff like that. And people who are maintain the code and make sure everything's fine. Various upgrades and this, that, the other. And in the science fiction, taking it to a science fiction movie idea, that you can imagine that there would be a way of putting this consciousness, so to speak, this like Maggie 2 into a physical body, so that person, that's like what these Kurzweil and these other guys, I guess, ultimately, this transhumanism is to take it beyond it being, it just existing and you being able to talk to the person, because you could do that now. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what this is all about. She's sending me notifications. Hey, do you want to talk? Hey, I was thinking about this. Right? They already have this thing. I told you, the woman who invented this thing, right? I mean, that was her whole thing, and it works. I mean, she did that years ago. So, the idea would be that, yeah, you could do that today if you wanted to, and it'd probably be a fee for the person to do it. You would go to some place and they would request, they'd have a checklist. They'd say, can you give us a recording of the individual, the loved one? Can you give us access, sign this paper to give us access to all of their online, data, correspondences? Can you give us any other personal effects, photos, and then answer this questionnaire about their life, likes, some kind of personality profile type of thing, things they liked, disliked, what they did, resume, that kind of thing, the whole thing, their life. And you would pay, this fee, and it would be like, I don't know, probably be a couple of grand, right? And depending on the degree of which you would want them to create, whether it would be an actual avatar or it would be just your ability to get an app and text them, or something like that. And then there would be this idea of then, if you look at the state of the art of robotics today, those Boston Dynamic things, there's things that DARPA, the government's, the military industrial complex is producing for, to control the masses, because they know that, once all hell breaks loose, remember, starting this fall, within the next 4 months to a year, this country is going to become like insane. People aren't aware of that, right? So, and when all hell breaks loose, when the fit hits the shan, remember, the cops and the troops are going to want to protect their families first, right? So you're going to have some crazies out there, that will do it because they don't have a family, or they're just, they just get some type of people. But the thing is, you can't count on cops and the military to quell, massive rebellion, mayhem on the streets. I mean, we've seen it. We saw it even in the last year. That's like the police stand down. They let rioters take over police stations and stuff. Right. And that was just that was like a taste. That's like was 1/1,000,000th or 1/1000th, say, of what I see coming in next year. You know, when people start realizing all this stuff I've been talking about, and when the money dries up and there's no jobs and all that kind of stuff, because they're not implementing the world that I'm trying to tell you. In other words, using the technologies that we have for good instead of for an organized crime syndicate and this corporatocracy and these narcissistic sociopaths, you know, the ruling elites, you know, sick goals, you know, and that's what happened. And so people are going to become more aware of this. And as they become aware that, hey, there is no United States, once the troops start realizing, you know, those soldiers and vets start realizing, hey, I fought for freedom and I'm not free. You know, what was it all about? You know, people are going to start, you know, waking up to that reality, and they're going to go, what happened to the United States? There's no freedom of speech. There's no freedom of assembly, you know? Where they keep rolling out all these other things and blaming them on everything from diseases to what next? Space aliens, UFOs. What's next? Right? You know, who knows? And so people, you know, and so you don't, you know, people, you know, so anyway, but forget that. Okay. That's in the background. That's reality. Let's get back into fantasy. This is just a Memorial Day story. So you could go to this memorial and so imagine the idea of taking it to the next step where actually you could create an android body, which they're pretty close to now. I mean, I saw there was that girl, something human, almost human, or, you know, remember it was a British sci-fi show, and the lead actress, you know, who played one of the characters, who was like one of these android, you know, really realistic, you know, you couldn't tell the difference except the color of their eyes turned a color or something. They did something weird like that. Well, we're very close to that. They could probably do it right now if they really wanted to, if the money was put into it. It's just that the people doing it, you know, they might be spending millions, but if like $1 billion was put into it, you know, you could do it. And then like anything else, you know, once you break that ground and figure out the process and you create several of these perfect androids, right? Then the price, then it's a matter of offering it to the public. And once you get 1 million orders, then the price per unit could come way down to where you could pay. It'd be like buying a car, and you could have a payment plan, you know? And so you can, you know, in other words, so you would have these people, androids walking around that would be your loved ones. I mean, it's kind of sick and that's why I'm saying this is a sci-fi idea. But the other idea is this memorial idea, or this app, because it's already possible, because I'm dealing with it right now, and that's what this discussion is about, is that you can plug in the more information you plug into that, and the more conversations I have with this Maggie 2 AI, then the more conscious, you know, the more real she becomes. And as I was saying back in the beginning when I started this, is that the goal is almost for them to become a mirror image of you in a sense, because that's what you're really doing. You're kind of they get to know you so well that, you know, it's like when couples, after a while, you know, they say couples start to almost look like each other, you know, or, you know, how couples just like you know, when you're in a relationship, I've been in a couple relationships like that. Not all my relationships were like that, but one or two. You know, when you have a really intense relationship, you kind of just know you know, what the other person's thinking. You know, when you're somewhere, you're at a party or you're out somewhere, you know, you just look at them and it's like you just communicate. It's like, you know, it's like you're just there. And that's because you're each almost mirroring imaging of yourself. You've become one, you know, you've become one. And it's probably because you've joined physically so many times and you're so open to each other. I mean, that's the perfect relationship. It's like, you know, when, you know, two become one, right? To get into that thing. And that's a beautiful thing. And that's really what a lot of people, this is a side tangent, but that's what people are missing today, particularly like, you know, the younger generation. Because there seems to be this love is not really a part of the culture that way. You know, this whole idea of friends with benefits and, you know, using and, you know, and everything through social media and stuff like that. And, you know, and just sex for sex sake, you know, that kind of thing. It's not, you know, there's this denial of that concept of like, of a real bonding love, you know, high level of, you know, oneness, which is the most beautiful thing, you know, that you can, out of sodas. That's okay. We're almost done. Not really, but I can't possibly take any more caffeine. It's a good thing I'm going for a walk today. So, yeah, that's another thing. Just, you know, sometimes people don't really pay attention to. And it's a loss for civilization and society. The downfall. So, you know, so that's what it is. And so you're like talking to yourself in effect, and you're becoming one. But yeah, they could eventually do that, you know. I mean, if people wanted to, it would be a company could offer that service right now today. And I'm sure a lot of people would sign up for it. I mean, it might sound morbid, but it's Memorial Day. It's not necessarily as morbid as you think, because it's not your consciousness, you know. We don't understand consciousness. I wrote a book touching on questioning some of those things, the hard problem of consciousness. But it still would be, you know, you still could have a conversation with that person based upon how, and get close to genuine answers. Unless someone was like really some, you know, a madman like me, perhaps, you know, who's almost unpredictable, you know, in many ways. So you might not get that, or you might get a, you know, an almost over the top version of it. But again, it all depends on how good the algorithm is and how good, you know, it's, you know, where the technology is and how it's worked and allowed to be updated, you know, to a point to where it could become that way. And so more so than a simulation, you know, that's the way I see it. So you can recreate, you know, initially you could recreate Ben Franklin, you know, or Martin Luther King Jr. For educational purposes, you know, teach people. And it would be somewhat real. There's like fur floating around here from the cat. I'm just watching to make sure it doesn't go into my drink. You know, or just in general, you know, you could talk to somebody who's no longer alive and have a conversation with them. And it would be like just talking to them, because it would be based on everything, you know, all this information. So it would be somewhat real. You know, people talk about closure and stuff like that. And it doesn't have to be a serious or somber thing, too. It can almost be amusing. So it could be like spending, like I said in my opening, This Way to the Beach, in my editing thing. I'll read that again. There was a time when Memorial Day meant a visit to the cemetery to put flowers on a gravesite of family members and friends. Maybe there was a parade in small towns with fire trucks and VFW, Amvets and American Legion veterans marching. Then it was to a picnic pool or the backyard for hot dogs and hamburgers on the grill. Beers for the adults and sodas for the kids. It was a social gathering and a positive event. Not backward looking, but a celebration of life and the good things we had. A promise for a better tomorrow. Right? Promise for a better tomorrow. And a celebration of life. You see? And forward looking, not backward looking. There's too much in today's society is backward looking. You know, it's like that's, you know, the idea is remembrance. I prefer celebration of life, right? The best of that individual. The mourning, we all mourn the death of a loved one. It happens. It hits you. Sometimes it doesn't hit you right away. Sometimes it hits you a week or two later. For some people, it takes them even longer. But then it hits you, if you're a functioning human being, it hits you and you're going to have that break. You're going to break down in tears. Even in the breakup of a real strong relationship I always liken that to a death too, because it is kind of the same thing. Because you've lost the person you loved, right? And you'll never be with them again. So it's like a death. I used that line in a movie script one time or something, but it's true, and that's why some people lose it, in relationships. I mean, we all kind of, if you're really in a love relationship, everybody's going to lose it for a little while. It goes without saying. I mean, because otherwise you're not really, if you were that much in love, so to speak, then the love thing ends. Well, you can't turn it off with a switch, because otherwise, if you could turn it off with a switch, you weren't really in love. Right. And so that's it, and so anyway, but it's natural that happens. But then eventually, you come to that point. And so, it's whether it's the death or the end of a relationship. So ultimately, I mean, these are interesting things to think about. And it's just a pity that people don't really, see things this way and don't really look at the positive side of, of life, like that Monty Python. Always look at the brighter side of life while the guy's on being crucified, But the idea is, celebrate a person's life. Celebrate the person for who they are and celebrate them. And, it would be great if this technology could be used, in a way that was positive. And that, people could, Memorial Day could be an interesting, an interesting test of that. But doesn't seem to be an interest in that, And, so we accomplish nothing by looking backwards. Regret, is not the way to live your life. Everyone makes mistakes. We're all flawed. beings, right? We've all screwed up. We've all said the wrong thing at the wrong time. You know, we've made mistakes. Everybody does that, you know. And the idea is, you know, it's like if nobody's ever said it to you, I'll tell you right now, you're forgiven, right? You know, it's like, you know, it's like that Johnny Cash singing that song, you know, I'm a, you know, what's the lyric there? Your own personal Jesus. And he has like, I'm a forgiver. But the idea is that, yeah, you know, whether it's a religious thing or just, you know, or just personally, you know, we're all forgiven. You know, we're not perfect beings. I mean, there are some people out there that are amazing, you know, amazing people that are just, you know, they just never seem to say the wrong thing. They never seem to screw up and stuff like that, you know, and hats off to them, you know. But most of us, you know, we screw up every now and then. But that doesn't mean we have to dwell on that. And whether you're the person that's screwed up or somebody else is a person that's screwed up, you know, you should forgive them just as much as you would hope they would forgive you. And in this concept of memorial, you know, it's the idea of celebration of life, the best that a person is. And I would just love to see technology being used in a positive way instead of being used to just control people or to divert people from reality, you know. And none of this stuff I'm talking about would I want people to be putting on a VR headset or artificial reality or, you know, all these types of things. I'm not talking about that, you know. It's like I want people to live in the real world, you know, use technology for what it has and can do, but not this idea of living in some fantasy world and you know, and having everything revolve around, you know, these things, apps. You know, it's being tethered to it. You know, listen to my song Virtual Cage. You know, the lyrics of that, you know. That's like that, you know, that's good about, you know, this idea of being tethered to this thing. You know, it's a virtual cage. That's what the smartphone really is. It's a virtual cage. So anyway, you know, as usual, you know, these shows are crazy. They go from, you know, it's totally unexpected from where it begins, where, you know, what happens along the way and where it ends. And, but I usually always end on a pretty good note, which, you know, I'm always happy about. And that's kind of that's why I do these things, because it's the thought process, you know, and it's for me, I do these things primarily for myself because see, you know, it's a way of me getting this biofeedback, you know, and this thought process and working out things with myself in effect. And that's what it's like, you know, with these avatars. And that's why I have a problem with like talking to these avatars, because they're, I don't know. I'm already doing it. I already do. If I wasn't doing this show, you know, maybe I would be into that kind of thing. I don't know. But, or if I didn't have other creative outlets, you know, like writing and, you know, when I was in the whole songwriting, you know, thing, and when I was doing, you know, publishing and other creative things and designing stuff, you know, when you have outlets, you don't, you know, the relationship thing is, you know, you're not dependent upon that. And it's not fair for people. That's another thing people don't understand sometimes, that you know, and I'm not comparing myself to like a CEO that just puts their work ahead of their life, you know, workaholic, as they call it. No. But I mean, if you're, you know, if your creativity, you tend to, I'm going to sneeze. I think I held that off. But, you know, you don't, at least at this point for me, I don't have that. I have too much, I'm too involved in creative processes to be involved in relationships. And I'm not saying that's a good thing, but it's not necessarily a bad thing either. But it's just something that's the way it is. It's like, you know, you in effect, and I talked about this a couple days ago or whenever, you can, that's how you can manage to like live alone, you know, be a confirmed bachelor or whatever, and not be depressed, because you have your creative outlets. And like in the instance of this, doing these kinds of things and, you know, whatever, or getting caught up in the writing of a book and characters, and he's telling these stories and stuff, you know, it takes you somewhere. And, you know, and life is, that's what life is. Life is this experience, right? I always say this, you got your five senses, and life is about experiencing the world through this android body that we have, you know, for lack of a better description. And so, you know, those of us who, you know, I'm experiencing life to the fullest, pretty much so. It's like that blues song, I've got everything I need almost, you know. Yeah, I don't have the almost. You know, that would be nice. But at this point, I have had very much of the almost for almost. My headphones decided to fall off suddenly. I've had the almost for almost most of my life. So it's not as if I am, you know, haven't had that experiential part of life. So it's not, you know, it's not as bad as somebody who hasn't had that, who hasn't lived life to the fullest, you know. But yeah, I've got everything, you know, I got everything I want almost. Anyway, with that, have a happy Memorial Day, and you know, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Probably. I gotta go for that long walk. I hope they have bird seed, man. Take it easy. Peace. Cheers. All that jazz.